G'day, welcome to Inside Ball. Well, we have a major sponsor who is a big part of Queensland, who is a big part of the Inside Ball. This episode is brought to you by Kratzmann Caravans.
Oh, we love vanning. Caravanning.
The RV Super Centre out of Burpengary. You should go out there. For over 40 years, they have been a starting point for everybody, Kev, that wants to caravan and go on a motorhome adventure. So you talk about where you go. If you want to start, you just go to Kratzmann. You just go absolutely out there. Their Super Centre out of Burpengary is elite. You can see them.
On the highway, mate. I drive past it all the time going up to visit Caloundra.
Mate, unbelievable part of the world. You're straight out there. You're on the Bruce. It's right there. It's on your right-hand side. And you know what? When you're driving up, it's on your left-hand side. When you're coming back to Brisbane, it's right there. Don't miss their great caravan and RV end of financial year sale. So a lot of you who listen to this, you're thinking, what do I do? Do I buy a caravan? Mate, end of financial year's coming up.
Tax time.
Write it off, however you want to do it. You can do whatever. Find yourself a good accountant. Kratzmann are the people who you need to go and see. Their biggest sale event of the year, up to $20,000 off new and used caravan. Not 5, not 10, up to $20,000 off their end of financial year sale, new and used. They're there. Just go and give them a call. Go and see them. Go out there. Tell them you listen to Inside Ball, and you're a huge chance. Kratzmann's RV Super Centre, just up the highway at Burpengary. Start your journey today. They're proud sponsors of the Inside Ball. They're the first on board. You know what they said? We love it that much. We're on board with you, Kevie. We're on board with you, Ben Dobbin. We're on board. So thank you to Kratzmann, and thank you. Go and see them. Their RV Super Centre, end of financial year sale, huge savings, new and used caravans. Why not start your off-road adventure today with Kratzmann? I can tell you now, they are the best. Don't listen to me. Listen to Kev. Go and see them. They are the best. That's where I'd be saying. Thank you for being a big part of Inside Ball. Let's get on with the show.
Let's go, Dobbo. Welcome to the Inside Ball podcast. We've got Mark Coyne joining us here today. Coyne, this is coming out of Sydney. You now live in Sydney, but you're a great Queenslander, great St George player, captain of the club, over 100 games as well. You played in 3 grand finals. We'll get to them later. Over 220 games for the Dragons and the St George Illawarra Dragons. 19 games for Queensland, 9 tests for Australia. Huge career. Obviously a Queenslander, born in Brisbane, yeah?
Yeah, born in Brisbane.
You got a couple of brothers and
a sister.
And a sister.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
Now, Peter, he played first grade as well, didn't he, Peter, for the brothers with you? And then
Pete,
Dragons.
Pete was at Valleys up in Brisbane, and then he came down to the Dragons and had probably a year and a half with me, and also had a older brother who was quite a good rugby player. He played for the Australian under-21s in rugby. My oldest brother, then he became a doctor and then a surgeon. So
pretty good career path to go down.
Yeah. So he quit footy and decided to go down that path.
Right, what sort of surgeon? He's
a neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
So he's
a smart
pretty,
crew.
He's smart. Well, he's definitely smart.
What's Peter doing? Because you've done well post footy. You've got your own company and things. What is Peter like? Is he totally different to the Walters family, mate, I can tell you.
Yeah, Pete's he teaches at church.
He's a teacher, that's right.
And my sister's got a degree in education. I suppose the thing is, my dad was a school principal, Kevie, and he was very big on education. So he pretty much made sure we all went to uni after school.
So when you finished school, you got a university degree as well?
Yep.
What'd you?
I did a degree in business management.
Right.
And the year that I came to St George, I just graduated. So
so you would have got a TE score because. What high school did you go to?
Yes, I went to Clairvaux College.
Oh, Clairvaux, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You would have got a TE score. What TE score did you get?
I got 9.15.
Right.
So I was pretty happy with that.
Well, Kerrod and I combined got 9.15. So we got
that's
you
fair,
covered,
that's
mate.
fair. Yeah, mate, it's fair.
Righto. So what's your favourite memory growing up in Brisbane, like with your family and stuff? What's some of your favourite memories?
Oh, I think probably holidays at Hervey Bay. Every year we used to sort of pack up the car, and because we had the big 3-seater in the front seat.
Did you have a Kratzmann Caravan or not?
No, we never had a caravan, mate. We never went the caravan. We should have got a Kratzmann's one, that's for sure. But
okay, so did you stay in units or?
Stayed in a house up in Hervey Bay and had some great memories up there. So probably that one, Kevie.
Righto. South Sunnybank was your junior club. Some big names have come out of there, along with yourself. Lottie Takiri, JT.
Yep.
What about in your side back then? Was there anyone else that got through into the first grade? Our age?
Yeah, no. Probably I was the only one that sort of squeezed through, and probably, to be fair, I probably was the least likely to make it through to first grade. But
why is that?
Oh, I don't know. I just sort of think I sort of wasn't a great player during those times. And to be like, my first representative team was actually playing State of Origin for Queensland. Like, I never made a rep team coming through all those years. And I don't know. At some point, I think around about 18 or 19, I think my body just matured and everything sort of fell together, and I sort of kicked on from there.
Righto. Backyard footy with the older
Loved it. Backyard footy.
Did she jump into?
No, Sue never jumped in. The thing that the backyard sport too, Kevie, is that I was always we played cricket a fair bit as well, and I ended up getting made to go last batsman because every time I'd spend all day fielding, and they were knocking me around everywhere, my older brothers. I'd finally get them out, and I'd go in the bowl, and I'd get out first ball. So it's very unfair. Very unfair.
Unfair, but probably true, mate. The backyard sorts out a lot of things, including cricket and rugby league. Righto. Growing up, who's your footy heroes?
Oh, footy heroes growing up, probably it's hard to go past like Mal and Wally. They were just the guys that you would have been the same.
We're the same vintage. So, Wally Lewis was just so good. And Mal, when he came with Gene Miles.
Yeah, all of those guys.
You ended up playing against them all too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And that sort of stuff's just surreal. Like, I'm sure you do too at times. You just sort of sit back and reflect and you go, how the hell did I end up getting to where I am and playing, those legends? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. And now we played against each other too, didn't we? In the Colts, way back, would have been 85 or 86, maybe?
No, that would have been 86 we played. Yeah. Under 19s.
You were playing for Brothers, and I was playing for the Mighty Ipswich Jets with Kerrod.
Yep.
Kerrod was in that side as well. I think you maybe knocked us out of the finals.
We knocked you out of the finals, mate.
Yeah, I knew you'd remember that because we had a pretty good side. We thought we were going to do some damage.
Yeah.
Playing against all the Brisbane teams.
Yep.
But obviously not. You had other ideas. Now, were you a 5'8" coming through the lower grades?
I was.
Like the juniors?
I was. Anyone who knows me and has played with me just think that's the biggest joke in the world because I can only really pass one way properly.
Stop it.
That's true story. My left to right's pretty good, but my right to left was terrible. So as a 5'8", I don't think I was that good.
The coach just said, mate, you're out. You're not a 5'8", you're a centre.
Eventually, a guy called Jimmy Stafford.
Jim Stafford?
No, Dave Stafford, actually. Dave Stafford, his brother.
Right.
He got me in the 18s at Brothers and said, and you're not a 5'8", mate. We're going to put you in the centres.
Right.
And then put me in the centres. I really never looked back after that. So it was a good call by him.
Did you play with the Jim Stafford, the frontie?
I played with Big Jumper, Jim Stafford,
was he in your premiership team?
He was in the premiership team at Brothers, yeah.
Right,
great
that was
fella.
a stack side too. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll get to that now, actually. So you finished the 19s at Brothers. You went to Brothers.
Yep.
And then in 87, you won the premiership there with the Brothers side, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty wild because I was playing pretty much reserve grade that year, and then a guy called Vinny O'Brien, you might remember him.
Yeah, I remember
Vinny was a really good winger for Brothers, and he broke his jaw about 8 games out from the end of the season, the finals, and Ross Drubwick put me in onto the wing, and Vinny was not going to come back, obviously, with a broken jaw. So I ended up playing the last 7 fixture games for Brothers, and then went through the finals and winning the grand final. So it was I was only 19 or 20, I think, and it was just wild. Like again, you just
they had some wild boys, didn't they?
Team. Steve Carter, he was a loose cannon. Trevor Bailey, Peter Gill, Clinton Moore. They had a really, really good, well balanced team.
Yeah.
The Brothers at that year, and
so you were at university, were you?
Yeah. I was studying, and that was my last year of uni. It was a 3-year course, and that was my last year. And then
you're still living at home with your family.
I was still living at home with mum and dad, and St George were up watching. St George came up to watch guys like Peter Gill, Trevor Bailey. I think they signed Steve Carter as well, and Clinton Moore.
Yeah.
So they sort of signed me a little bit as an afterthought, I think. So they saw me play in the reserve grade, and they liked me, and then they watched me a little bit in first grade, and then they've made me an offer. So
the Broncos, they never knocked on your door?
Nah, never knocked on my door. But again, I don't hold any angst around that. I would have loved to have obviously played for the Broncos and probably stay up in Brisbane, but it didn't work out that way. And as you know, Kevie, there's different paths in the road that you get to.
Yeah, well, you've got to make choices, mate.
Got to make choices, and I made that choice, and I still, I'm really happy with the choices that I made because obviously I had a pretty successful footy career at the end of it all.
Right, so you reckon you got dragged in by the Dragons because of some of your other teammates in that?
No doubt, mate. No doubt.
Final team?
Yeah, no doubt.
And you lived with them?
I live with them.
How silly are you?
So stupid. And I was the youngest.
You were the youngest, so you would have
so-
been like the bitch boy of the house.
Mate,
you know?
I reckon that was the hardest year of my life, Kevy, because I was a mummy's boy because I was the youngest of our four, and Mum cooked everything for me, did all my washing, ironing, everything was done for me. I moved down to Sydney with the other guys, and I lived with Trevor Bailey and Clinton Moore and Peter Gill. We lived in this big house at Rockdale together. But I got put in the under 21s where they all played first grade.
Yeah.
So we never had our trainings were never synced up.
Right.
So I'd get home after having to work all day, go home, go to training, then get home, and all those guys had eaten their meals. They were sitting on the lounge watching the footy, and I had to pretty much get home and do all that stuff myself.
Well, that probably taught you a few lessons, mate. I would have thought, but about being patient and waiting for your opportunity to make it. Because when you did get your opportunity, you're all over it. Trevor Bailey, Clinton Moore, Peter Gill. You felt homesick, didn't you?
Yeah, I still
Tough year
felt,
for you.
Yeah, I still felt a bit homesick with it all, but just because I wasn't with them playing, in the same team as them. But in saying that, I made good friends in the under 21s at the Dragons, and still a couple of them are really good friends of mine. So I just had to work out. I needed to fight my way back, but I will say halfway through the year, because I was coming back for all my mates' 21st. Back in Brisbane, so if we had the opportunity.
You're lucky you brought this up, because my wife Narelle, she's all over you, mate.
Oh,
she knows. So you snuck home for a 21st.
Yeah.
How do you sneak home for a 21st?
I just snuck home. It was a good mate of mine.
Was it Friday night? You're playing Sunday or something?
We were playing on the Sunday. It was a Friday night. So it was actually the guy. No, I think it was actually on the Saturday, because I came up. No, the party was on the Saturday night. I flew up. He was the guy that got me to Brothers with him. So I flew up his party. I don't reckon I got to bed till about 3 a.m.
Right.
Then I got up in the morning to fly back home.
To play that afternoon?
Wow. And I remember the coach was Tom Berry, and he was trying to talk to me about the game, and I was trying to avoid him, because I had rum. I was drinking rum and cokes at the party.
I love your rum.
So I was trying to stay away from him. And weirdly enough, I was really struggling at the start of the season. I just didn't feel like I was hitting my form. And again, I was a bit despondent because I didn't feel like I was going that well.
Yeah.
And that game was the best game I played.
Right.
When I came back after a massive night out from Brisbane, went down and played
Something
the best game I played.
That prepped you for Origin, mate.
Maybe, prepped me for Origin, that's right.
Later in your career. It's amazing, isn't it? Like, sometimes you can, you obviously can't do that consistently, but sometimes it just does take the edge off things, and away you go, because you won the Under-20s Player of the Year, didn't you?
Yeah, I won the Under-21. After that, I
21s.
won the 21s Player of the Year, and I sort of kick-started particularly from that match. I sort of came back from that birthday party, and I just really, seemed to get a run on after that, and got the Player of the Year, which was pretty cool.
So you didn't play any first grade that year?
No first grade that year, no.
Okay,
no.
So 89, Craig Young's your coach?
Yep.
The Dragons. You're obviously still developing, only 70 kilos or something.
Yeah, I was only light.
He had this planned move for the wingers to take the first carry off the tabs.
Well, I still have a go at Albert about that, because I see him around a fair bit, and he still reckons that it toughened me up, and I look back now and go, yeah, he's probably right. Probably toughened me up, but
it would have had to, mate, because you got no choice.
No choice. I remember
you run into blokes like Blocker, aren't you? Like,
One of my first games, I think it was my first or second game. We were playing Balmain, who were a great team back in 1989. 89. I think they'd lost 88 grand final, hadn't they? And they lost 89 as well at the end. But I was playing against Blocker and Sirin and all those guys, and Albert said winger in, and we were playing at Cogra Oval, and the rain was just torrential leading into that game. And back then they didn't have good drainage, so there was puddles everywhere. So I'm doing winger in off the tap, and I'm running into Blocker,
trying to find a target.
An
easy landing.
There was no. I can tell you with that Tigers pack, there was no easy landing, and I nearly drowned because they just landed on me and buried my head into the ground. I got up, I had muddle coming out my mouth. I'm going, oh my God,
mate! I think Albert was right, mate. Good experience for you, toughen you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it did. Now, Brian Smith comes onto the scene in 1990.
Yep.
Tell me about Brian Smith, because he's been a hugely successful coach at different clubs, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Just at the final hurdle for whatever reason.
Yep.
I'm not going to, because I got a lot of respect for Brian and what he did with you guys.
Yeah.
Certainly at the Dragons was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did a really good job at the Dragons. One thing that stands out to me to Brian was just sort of the discipline he brought into our club, and
discipline like around training and being
around
on
training,
time
all that stuff, Kevie. But even then going back to doing all those real basic sort of drills around catching and passing, picking up, hard. And I was initially I was going, why is Brian making us do this? Like, we're all first grade.
This is
babyish.
Stuff,
But then when I came into Origin camp, Probably a year later.
Yeah, 91, yeah.
Queensland were doing the same thing.
91,
and I said to Gary Belcher, I said, you do this at Canberra? He goes, we do it all the time. It's all about practicing.
Yeah.
And that's when the real penny dropped around what Brian brought to our club. He brought all that sort of stuff.
Well, see, exactly. And that's why Wayne Bennett and Craig Bellamy, for mine, have been so successful, because Wayne's a very simple coach,
Yeah.
You get your basics right, your catch and pass, your tackle technique, all those little things that you have to do in a game hundreds of times.
Yep.
Instead of focusing on the big plays and the big picture.
Yep.
That's why they're so successful. And Brian Smith, I never really had a lot to do with Brian, but I would imagine Gordon speaks highly of him as Gordon Tallis.
Yeah.
Speaks really highly. His football now was really good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very smart. And he had a guy with him, a guy called Max Ninnis, who was sort of he was sort of like a crazy professor, but he was also very smart around the tactical side of the game.
He did a lot of your recruiting too, didn't he?
Did a lot of the recruiting as well. So he was very good. But together they were a formidable team. And obviously, we were a team that hadn't made the five back then for a lot of years. And, for him to come in, and in the second year, obviously we played the two grand finals in his second and third year as coach. He did an amazing job. Yeah.
He was only a young fella too, wasn't he? Like really,
he was a bit younger then, Smithy, yeah.
Yeah, righto. You must be going pretty well for the Dragons, because you get selected for Origin, Game 2 in 1990. I would have been in that squad as well. We were both always on the bench for those first few years.
Yep.
How good is it coming into Origin camp when you got Wally Lewis and Alfie was there as well, but he wasn't as big then. It was more the king, wasn't it? Wally and Mal, these sort of guys.
Bobby Lindner,
Peter Jackson,
yeah,
legends of the game, and also here we are. We're in the team.
Oh, it was wild, wasn't it? Like my debut was sort of a bit weird, but Kevie, because I was 18th man for Wally Lewis, so I had to come up to the travel lodge because I was 18th man.
Yeah,
I didn't know what.
It's not there anymore. The travel lodge.
It's so sad. I didn't notice that. But I was really torn because I wanted Wally to play, because obviously Queensland need him to play. He's such a great player, but if he didn't play, I came in, so I didn't really know what to wish for, and I had to watch. Weirdly enough, at the travel lodge, I had to watch Wally run up and down doing
the hallway,
up in the hallway with his hamstring.
It was a hamstring, yeah.
So I'm going, what's going to happen? And then eventually he got ruled out, and I came in. So it was a really sort of bizarre way that I came into the team, but it was pretty cool, obviously.
Very exciting being around the Origin team.
Yeah,
certainly. Right, so you 1990 Origin, so it's all starting to fall into place for you. You must have got some confidence out of being selected in that side and being around all those players. Is that?
Yeah, I think once you get past the, I felt a little bit of that imposter syndrome, to tell you the truth, because as I said, I hadn't played a rep game before, so I probably most of my career at times I struggled with the imposter syndrome. I've got to say, but yeah, I felt a little bit like.
What do you mean?
A little bit, just because do I deserve to be here?
It's your humility, mate. That's
maybe,
humility.
but yeah,
it is, mate. Come on.
So, but yeah, to make my debut, I remember I was talking to someone the other day. I remember just looking at my jersey when I was sitting on the bench, waiting to get on. When I was sort of watched the game after. I didn't notice it at the time, but not apparently, the camera was on me, and all I kept doing was looking down at my badge. I was so proud proud of having that jersey on.
Yeah. Well, my first Origin game was '89. Again, I got called in late. I think it was for Mal Meninga, so I ended up getting number 4 on my back for first jersey with Walters, but I only played the last 3 or 4 minutes. And I remember getting a photo with Kerrod, my brother, because Kerrod, I think he got the man of the match in that game.
Yeah.
And my jersey was just sparkling clean, Still had the
It was always like that, wasn't it? It was always like that. Alf's was dirty. Alf tells me his was always dirty.
Oh, yeah. Alfie's kidding. But, yeah, it does take you a while to adjust into that environment, because it is a pretty esteemed environment. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Sure, but you had a great career at Origin level, which we'll speak a little bit more about as well. So many things, good things happening around Mark Coyne at Origin level. 92, you're still finding your way a bit with the Dragons, and the team itself hadn't been a whole lot of success, has it, up until then? No.
Well, obviously, we hadn't had great success for a lot of years at the Dragons, and then 92, for some reason we just clicked. I think Brian had already had 1 year with us. I think we're all starting to understand the way that he wanted us to play. And obviously he improved all of us as individuals, I think, really well.
Yep.
So we started to click, and obviously we had a really good year, despite obviously not winning the GF. But the year was one that I suppose no one really thought that we'd get to where we got into, but it was a great time for us.
Now, he's had a tough year, tough semi-final, didn't you? Was it no points scored. Can I remember?
Yeah, no, we played. I think we played Illawarra first up, who beat us, and then we had to come through the
Come around the
journey.
back again.
Yeah, so we played Newcastle, beat them 3-2.
That's right.
So
yeah.
my brother Peter was playing for us in that
Did
semi-finals.
he kick the field goal? Did he?
He kicked the field goal and the penalty goal. So we won that game 3-2. And then we played Illawarra to qualify to play you guys in the GF, and we won that 4-0. So very, very tough games, those two games.
What do you remember most about the grand? You've got something that reminds you of the '92 grand finals. There, something from a positive point of view. I mean,
no, not really. I've tried to forget about the grand finals, Kevie. To tell you the
but
truth.
every time Alfie's,
yeah, I know. I can't.
Don't worry, I know what it feels like to lose a grand final. It's gut wrenching, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And for a long time, I wouldn't even go to watch I wouldn't even watch a grand final for a lot of years. And after I retired, because it was just it's not having won one. It is gut wrenching and it hurts a lot. But I'm pretty good now. I've gotten moved on and gotten over it. And but yeah, I still it's the one regret that you have. But I just try and now. That's just life, and
that's the footy gods, mate.
That's the footy gods, and I still very thankful.
3 grand finals, didn't you? And
I played in 3. Yeah,
should have been the 4th, but you're injured.
That's right. Yeah. I retired halfway through the '99 season, and thank God I didn't play in that one, probably, Kevie, because four grand finals, I might have been ready to neck myself. So.
You'd be right, mate. You'd be right. Now, '93 was another good year for you playing Origin.
Yep.
I think you set a couple of tries up through that series as well as. Getting through to the grand final again against the Broncos, but your run was a bit better this time round. But still, I remember that game. It was a bloody tough game against you fellas. It was never much in it. I think we got a late try, which blew the scoreline out a bit. But you would have been much more confident second year round going in.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that we were really we probably that was the year I think out of all the years that we should have won that year.
Yeah,
because you guys came from 5th spot if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and you did it the hard way.
Well, you beat us in the last round.
We did. That's right. Up at Lang Park.
Yes, and that actually, if we'd have won that game, we would have got into second. I think, and I don't think we would have had the inspiration to go forward.
Right.
So you guys provided the inspiration for us, because I remember after the game we were up in at the post-match function at ANZ Stadium, and there was a lot of people, the Broncos are gone now, a lot of noise in the room. Can't beat the Dragons. They're a good side. You're done. And that was pretty inspiring for us as a group. So thanks for beating us.
That's all right, mate. But that semi-final series, what we played exceptionally well through that final series, and
often
and then, So again,
from last year.
I don't think we were cocky or anything, but we lost Jason Stevens early in that grand final, which probably wasn't his thumb. He broke his thumb.
Yeah,
it's a compound fracture came through the skin, and that set us back a little bit. But as you know, Kevie, like you guys were. Extremely good football team.
Yeah, we had some good players, mate. Some really elite players. Well, Alfie was one of the best players in the game.
Yeah,
at the time, and there's a lot of Glenn Lazarus. These sort of guys were all. I think we had 4 or 5 Australian players in that side.
Yeah, great time. I think
a lot of Queensland players as well. So
I think Rex Turp's still getting therapy.
Rexy
after he tried to mow the pearl down.
Yeah. Many years ago now. Now '94 is a good year too. Captain of the Dragons.
Yep.
But not so good for you personally. You felt. Well, tell us about it. You tell me.
94 was just a hard year for us because obviously we'd been to 2
You missed the 5, didn't you?
Yeah, we missed the 5. We'd been to 2 grand finals, and I found 94 a hard year, and personally as well, because you've captained teams before, Kevie. I don't know how you sort of transitioned, but I sort of took on. I'm sort of always someone who takes on. That whole feeling that it's all my fault. I've got to be the one that drives everything. Where really you've got other 16 players that are all there to help.
All got to contribute, mate.
All got to contribute. But I think I took it
personally,
a bit, which is what I generally is probably a fault in my character at times. But yeah, so I probably felt a bit down about how we were going. Again, I don't think my form was as great as it was. The 2 previous years. To not make the top, was it top 5 or 8 then? I can't remember what it was back then, but whatever
top 5,
it was. Top 5, it was very disappointing, and me as captain was, I felt like, I probably carried the load around that, but eventually I sort of learned different ways of leading, I think, and probably by the next year I was in a better space around that.
Yeah, right. Now, some of your teammates that you had good relationships with, Ricky Walford was one of your favourites, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ricky, great guy. He played on the right side together for many years, and he was one of the best finishers in the game that I ever played alongside. He was tremendous.
He could finish tries, couldn't he?
Just find the line,
brilliantly.
and only ran as fast as he had to as well.
Yeah, okay, righto. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the leadership still because you're a captain and apparently you don't like reading autobiographies and the like, trying to get information. You like to source it yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, it's pretty true. I think, I don't know, I just think because I was sort of in the business world as well. I was doing a lot of reading of documents, just, normal business stuff, while I was playing footy. I would pretty much work 9 out of the 12 years that I played footy. So I've always felt that picking up autobiographies, I'm just reading about someone else's life and I'd rather always had the view that I just want to create my own things in life. And honestly, I just found, I just didn't find those things as that intriguing. To tell the truth, so.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you see leadership? What do you see leadership as?
I think leadership is around enabling people to improve. I've always sort of had a view that your job as a leader is to make sure that you help people get better in what they're doing. So I think that's the approach that I've always taken. I've probably honed it a little bit more since my footy is obviously different as a leader, Kevie. You know that because you got to make instant decisions on the ground. It's a high performance sort of environment. Sometimes you can't tolerate repetitive errors and that sort of stuff. So maybe sometimes you get a bit cranky at people on the field. But no, I think when you sort of step out of that and you go into business, honestly, I learned a lot of lessons from football, like things like overcoming adversity, working hard, recognising people, all that sort of stuff you learn in footy.
I think one of the big things I learned from football, which I enjoyed, was how to be a good team person, which you are as well, obviously. And there's so many takeaways from that, just simple things like, being on time, sort of, respecting your teammates, doing things that you don't always feel like you want to do, but your teammates need you to do it, because if you don't do it, you let the team down. Those sort of things are they're good life lessons, aren't they?
They are, mate. And as well, like when you come into Origin camp, like you only have 1 week to sort of work together around that, and that stuff's really important to do that. And so I think, and leadership's about learning on the way. Like you make mistakes, and you got to learn from those mistakes. And I've made lots of mistakes in both my footy and my corporate career, but you just got to sort of learn from that and park them and don't do it again.
Make sure you don't do it again, but good learning. So, right, 94, you're captain of the Dragons, Origin, that try, the miracle.
Yep. Well, you played a part in that, Kevie, so
I did, but
you know all about it.
I'm the professional celebrator, Corny, so I chased that ball.
You did.
I was involved in the try, right? So we were down, weren't we? It was 12-10 with 40 seconds. And Willie Kahn had scored earlier just to get us back. Yep. We were no chance of winning that game.
No
chance.
No chance. I came. Well, I think I'll try and think who came off. Someone came off injured, and I had to go on with about 8 minutes to go, and we're down by 10 points or whatever it was. And I'm going, oh God, this is a bit of a shit sandwich to come on to.
Yeah. How am I going to fix this?
What's going to happen here? And and then as I got on, obviously Willie scored. And then obviously that last minute was just like, I still shake my head about how we actually pulled that off.
It was amazing. And the call of it has become legendary as well, hasn't it, with Ray Warren. But I just remember, like, when Willie Kahn scored, I just thought, well, hang on, we might be half a chance here,
I know.
And then all of a sudden, the ball goes through the hands, and Pearl and Mick Hancock do their stuff, and I'm trailing the ball everywhere trying to get involved again.
You touched it twice, didn't you?
I think I only touched it the once, and then I was trying to touch it again, but everyone kept avoiding me, and it ended up getting, I think Darren Smith was involved there too.
Yes, he was, Smith
with an underpass.
Yep.
And then Alfie got involved, and then Mal just stole. I thought Mal was going to get there, and then he couldn't get there, and then Coyne, he shows up, and then I'm just, you little bitty.
It was pretty exciting, wasn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. And just the lack of noise from the New South Wales crowd, it was just amazing, and it was a miracle win as well. We levelled the series then, didn't we? And then we went up to Queensland and lost it in game 3, but... That
was game 1. I think we went down to Melbourne and lost, right. And then they beat us in the decider. Yeah.
The no try from Glenn. That wasn't a try, Lazarus. He didn't get it over the line, mate.
No, surely not.
That was in Melbourne. That's right. Was that the first? No, second game in Melbourne.
Second game in Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, big crowd at the MCG.
It was a massive crowd.
Holy
that was a record nearly, I think.
Yeah, righto. So the mirror, is that one of your favourite? It's got to be one of your favourite moments.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, certainly. It's a really, really favourite moment, and probably the one thing that I'm remembered for out of everything else that I did in the game, which is a nice way to be remembered. So I'm not. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if I had that memory of.
No, it's pretty cool. It gets.
But you didn't celebrate after the game, did you? Tell us.
I didn't celebrate, mate. No, because Well, it was weird because I only played 8 minutes. That was back in the day where...
And I can relate to that at Origin level.
So you did. You come off the bench a bit in Origin. So I came off the bench with 8 minutes to go, and then you'd be the same, Kevie. When you don't play like a whole game, you feel like you haven't actually done a lot. Like your jersey's still nice and clean.
At least your jersey had white marks all over the front of it where you scored.
It might have. I've still got the jersey.
Have you still got it?
I have, but I've donated it to the QRL. So the QRL have got it framed up in the museum.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So better than sitting in my cupboard.
That's not your favourite Origin jersey, is it?
My favourite?
No, that's not your favourite Origin jersey.
Oh, it's pretty close to that one.
Yeah.
What do you think's my favourite?
Well, your 95. You felt.
95 is pretty cool. Yeah, I've still got those jerseys as well at home. But 94 was obviously a bit of an iconic one. But that night, my wife was there at the game, and I was overwhelmed by what was happening after that game, because I felt like I hadn't played a lot because I only played 8 minutes. All the journos wanted to talk to me. Everyone virtually wanted a piece of me that night, and I just found it really overwhelming. And I didn't even go out.
Yeah.
You guys probably all went out and got on a drink somewhere. And
no doubt.
no doubt. And I just went home that night, and I was actually driving home. I had one beer in the dressing room, and I said, "Let's go get our gear, Annie, and we'll just head home." So I did that, and on the way home, I got pulled over by police.
Right.
Not because I think it was just like a random breath test. I got pulled over.
Wow.
And the copper said, "What have you been doing tonight, mate?" And I said, "Oh, no, I've just been out watching the footy at the stadium." And he said, "He said, oh, we still got to blow into this."
He didn't recognise you.
He didn't recognise me, so I thought if he had known who I was, he might have actually locked me up. But but I was all clear. So then I just went home, and then the next day it was just like bedlam as well. Like it's just so many people wanting to interview me and come out to the house and all that. Yeah, so it was wild.
You handled that all right though, didn't you? Like was that back when you went back to Dragons training? There's press everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere, and all the boys were bowing down to me when I walked in. So it was really funny.
Because you had a couple of Brad Mackay, was he playing that night?
Yeah, Brad played that night.
Was he the only one from the Dragons in the?
I think Dave Barnhill was as well.
Barnhill,
so he was filthy. So I think I was going to put the $3 or $4 grand, whatever he thought. He thought he was home and hosed.
Yeah, definitely.
He was going to have the cash, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's you've experienced that as well. Like it's weird, isn't it, when you leave clubland, go into Origin, and then you play against your club teammates.
Yeah. But you hate them, don't you? You still hate them. Once they're on the field in a blue jersey. Oh, God, yeah, they're terrible.
100%, mate.
Kevie, some of the great partnerships in rugby league, I'd say Langer Walters, Stuart Daly.
Yep.
In the modern day, dare I say it, Cleary Luai. Been very good partnerships. Not bad. I mean, 4 premierships
Munster
in a row.
DCE for Origin, that's
a pretty good partnership. Well, one of the iconic partnerships that we have at Inside Ball is Inside Ball and SwiftX.
Yes.
SwiftX have been the sponsor and partner of the NRL for some time.
Yeah, I used to see him up on the tries.
Well, mate, they're now part of the family. SwiftX are all about helping Aussies learn to invest in crypto with confidence. I've got to be honest with you. I have wanted to learn a lot about crypto and share trading, and I got into learning and listening to podcasts, but my life changed when I did a simple thing. I downloaded the SwiftX app right here on my phone.
Because I'm not great in that space.
Well, you might not be great, and a lot of our Inside Ball listeners might not be great. Now, we're going to give you a link, and if you're a first-time SwiftX customer, just like what I was the other day, you'll get $20 free Bitcoin to start off with. Right. $20 straight away. Open the account up. First time customer, Inside Ball listener, $20 Bitcoin credit straight up.
So currency. Where do I find the link?
Find it in the show notes to this episode. It's that easy. Start your learning today. I can't tell you I did it. I'm not going to it is a really fascinating thing. I can't tell you how good they are, and I'm happy they're part of our family. I'm happy they're part of NRL, and they can be part of your family as well. It's that easy.
Righto. Well, I mean,
get on board with SwiftX.
I've got 7 members already because I've got a big family.
Yeah, well, I've got my nieces involved. I've got my wife. I've got myself. Just get involved with SwiftX. It's as easy as I can tell you. Yep. They are helping you. They are helping us. You know what they're doing? They're helping rugby league.
Righto, 95. Super League war. We'll get to the Origin series, but now I've only seen really the Super League side of things.
Sure.
Because you were locked in and loaded with the New South Wales and the Australian Rugby League, weren't you?
Yep.
So how did that all take place for you guys? I know that the Super League they moved in very quickly and started signing players. Was that same case for the Australian Rugby League?
Yeah, pretty much. They were the same. They had Graham Richardson, who's an ex-politician, federal politician, and he was involved with the ARL, and obviously Gus, did a lot of work with them as well. So
because you're the captain of St George at the time, aren't you?
I was captain of the Dragons at the time.
Did you feel a moral right to stay with the Dragons? Were you
pretty much? Yeah,
did they make you an offer, the Super League?
Yeah, Super League were definitely keen. I actually had one night. I had Rebo, Mal Meninga, Lachlan Murdoch. I think even came all out to my little house at Oatley.
Right.
And we had about 7 or 8
Dragons players
there that they wanted to talk to, and they did a very good job convincing. But a few of us had already signed with the ARL by then, and my view was that I didn't want to break a contract, so I'd made a decision to stay with the ARL, and I didn't want to break a contract. And I think, to be fair, what anyone did during that time, Kevie, I think it was really, it was really confusing. You didn't know which side was the right side to do.
So,
and you're looking after yourself, which I think is absolutely, that was the opportunity to do that. So I don't hold any grudges to anyone. Like, we lost a lot of players at St George to Super League.
Yeah.
When
because you were the heart and soul of the Australian rugby, the Dragons.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was natural for the Super League people to attack your team.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
pull as many out as they could.
And they did. And then we did this world. We did the world. I'm probably getting a bit off track here in terms of the order you're going through, but we did. I went on that World Cup tour over to England, and
that's at the end of the year.
The end of the year, and we came back. And I came back to all the rumours at St George we were going to change and go over to Super League.
Right.
So I'm going, well, I don't know what that means for me because I just signed a 3-year deal. So then we had a meeting with them, and Rod Reddy was the coach at the time, so he took on the coaching role after Brian Smith left. I met with Rod and a few of the other players, and including Jason Stevens, and Rod said, if we go to Super League, we can keep our whole team together. So, if we get the club to sign over, we'll keep everyone together. And I said, that's not true. I said to Steve-O, I said, what are you going to do, mate? And he said, I'm going to Cronulla.
Yeah.
And I said to Rocket, I said, It's not going to happen. So
he did go to Cronulla, didn't he?
He went to Cronulla, and pretty much our team that year in '96, our team completely disintegrated. Like, I went to training in November or December when pre-season started, and we had like 7 players.
Right.
That's all we had, 7 players. That's all the club had.
And you made the grand final.
We made the grand final. So to me, that's sort of, people ask me what's my favourite memory, and obviously the Origin try is up there. But to me, when we beat North Sydney in that semi-final to get to the grand final in '96, that's by far my my best memory, because just to get there after having 7 players at the start of the year.
I often say that as well. Apart from winning a grand final, the next best moment is knowing that you're in one, hey? And you've experienced
100%.
that
Yep.
a lot. But we're not going to go past the Nevilles, mate. The Neville Nobodies from '95. What a series.
Yeah, unbelievable.
What a series. Actually, I was the commentator for, I think it was Channel 9, for Game 1 in Sydney. 2-0.
Yep. 2-0.
What's going on?
Wayne Bartram, penalty goal.
And Fatty was Paul Vorton was the coach. You got big raps on Fatty as a coach.
Yeah, big raps on Fatty. He everyone thought he was a bit of a larrikin, but he worked a lot with Bozo. So you know Bozo. He was a very smart coach, and I think a very successful coach. And Fatty had to learn a lot off him. And whilst he came across on the footy show at the time as a big larrikin and a joker, like he knew his footy. Yeah. And the minute he came into camp with Choppy, Chris Close, he laid the law down around what he wanted to do, and he believed in us. And it was. I mean, I to be honest, Kevie, I didn't believe in us.
No.
I walked into that room and
you couldn't have, mate.
Looked at the team. And
there's you.
Yeah.
Gilly. Yeah. And Rowdy, Dale Shearer, the 3 players that had Origin experience.
I think Larry and Billy.
Gavin Allen too.
And Gavin Allen, yeah. So about 7 maybe had Origin experience.
Had played Origin, right?
Yeah.
Billy Moore, obviously.
Coney as well, I think.
Mark Coyne, yeah. But it really was. There's some players there that obviously I knew, but to the outside, like Ben Eichen.
Yeah, I know.
Was 18 years old.
Unbelievable.
Was he still going to school? He finished school,
Just finished school, yeah.
And did he get in the lift and
Fatty? Fatty didn't know he was.
Fatty said, mate, who are you here to get autographs? Yeah. He said, no, I'm actually in the team, mate. Yeah. Ben Eichen.
Can I tell you a quick side story about Benny Eichen? So Benny Eichen was my roommate. So for some reason, they always gave me like the worst. I had Rowdy, I had Julian O'Neill. So I always got the wild ones, or I got the young ones. So I don't know why.
Because you're a great leader,
Well,
mate.
maybe they thought I was
You're an
responsible.
influencer.
But as you know, I still had my times in camp where I had good times. But
but you're still like responsible.
I'm
Like,
responsible.
If you went and had a drink, and we all did, you were there next day on
I was
time,
definitely there.
and you trained hard.
Yeah, I definitely did that.
And then of course you always play hard. So
yeah, but with Benny, so Benny was my roommate, and he didn't know that if you went down and ate at the common area for food, like everything was for free. You had prawns, you had everything you want down
was
there.
it Jack's Bar?
Yeah,
and
Jack's
Grill?
Bar. In the hotel. That's not their travel lodge. But Benny didn't realise that if you ordered room service, you had to pay for it yourself.
Right.
So he was too shy. So he was ordering room service for the whole 3 camps.
Wouldn't go down.
Wouldn't go down. He was a bit nervous about it all. So at the end of the camp, I've gone to settle, in the end of each camp, I've gone to settle the bills. They've gone, your bill's like $2,400. So I've gone, what?
That's more than we used to get paid for.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So I've ended up having to pay the bills. So Benny still owes me about $3 or $4 grand. So I kept reminding him every now and again.
Well, you know his job now, don't you?
I know his job now.
Surely he's got a bit. Benny, you've got to pay up, mate. Pay your bills. Coyne's still chasing it.
No, it's
30 years it's been, Ben.
a lot of interest on that, Kevie.
There is, mate. You add it up. You're good with the maths. I'm no good. Choppy was one of the managers. And Tosser's obviously still there at Tosser Turner. So that the support staff were very passionate Queenslanders, weren't they?
Very good, yeah.
And I could just imagine, I was fortunate enough to have those guys through Origin as well. Choppy was the passion that he brought, and also Dick Tosser Turner, just amazing. And that would have been a huge help, wasn't it? Like,
no doubt,
the staff that year.
Yeah, definitely, because they obviously knew what Origin was all about. So that helps with preparation, obviously, that those guys had done it before. But, Fatty was good. I think the one thing, for me, Kevie, that Fatty did, he sort of, when he came in initially, he sort of talked to us all about we can do this, we can do that, and blah, blah, blah. But the one thing I think that sort of cemented it was sort of came after that 2-0 win, the first game. But after every training session, he'd get us to go and defend our try line.
Yep.
So we'd finished training, done all the all the different moves and all that, and then he'd say, now we're going to do 6 or 7 sets of 6 defending our line. And he did that every training session. So we just got this real mentality, I think, and mindset around how important defending the line was.
Yeah.
I think in that first game, like we would have saved that many tries.
Yeah, it was not just that game, the one in Melbourne as well.
Yeah, as well.
Like even right at the death.
Yeah.
Like New South Wales, they should have scored, but the Queensland spirit, bang bang.
Yeah, bang bang.
And got you home, and that you won the series down there.
We won the series down there, and again, I think that 2-0 was such an important game because we had we not won that game, I think we probably would have dropped. He would have dropped.
Yeah.
Their legs,
So you got a lot of confidence out of it.
A lot of
obviously.
confidence out of that. The young blokes did who hadn't played before, and going down to Melbourne, we had a lot more confidence. And then obviously to win the series down there was amazing because. I mean, you probably don't. I don't know if you probably don't know this, but I played in 7 series and only won that one serise in '95. So all the other series I never won. So
that's fine, mate. If you can win one, if you can get one Origin game, I believe because I was a lot like you. I wasn't always in the side. I was in and out of the Origin side, and I think when I started in teams, I think I only had the one Origin series win in '98. The rest of mine was either interchange or starting, and then I got dropped a couple of times from Queensland. So. But it's a great feeling, isn't it? Particularly
so
the team that you had. Like no one gave you a chance. Even the staunch Queenslanders didn't give you a chance against Fittler, Brasher, Wishart, McGregor, Florimo, Carroll, Brad Fittler.
Yeah, I know.
Andrew Johns.
Yep.
The list, they're just full of Australian players.
They were. It was amazing.
Steve Menzies, another one. Jeff Tuvey.
Yep.
So amazing. And you guys, like now, I know every Origin team is great, and there's a lot of camaraderie between. But you guys have got something really special there, haven't you? I know
definitely.
Every year you celebrate it, and everyone comes.
Yep.
And this year is 30 years.
Yeah, I know.
So you've celebrated already, have you?
Yeah, we had a celebration at the start of the year because I think there was too much stuff on. We're going to try and do it around the game up here, which is next week. Next week. But it just got too hard with all the different events on. So we did it at the start of the year, and we had the best time. It was so good to see everyone again.
And everyone's still like looking back on it, like still just like shaking their head and going,
still shake your head.
How good is it?
Yep, unbelievable. And for some people, like you think about, Cookie and Craig Tevan. Like that's the only series that they played in.
Yeah.
And look at that. They won 3 out of 3 and a clean sweep.
Well, mate, they're just unbeatable. So,
Yeah, so
and
good.
I just remember, I'm sorry, New South Wales folks, but just so special that like 3-0's hard to do.
Very hard.
And with the team that you guys had, just an amazing, and very envious as well.
Yeah.
Because, you want to play in those games in that origin, but I've never seen anything like it. Everyone was in disbelief. So magic job done by you fellas and all the staff. You played for Australia that year as well, 95?
Yeah, I
World Cup.
got picked to play for Australia. We had a couple of games against New Zealand in Australia, and then we beat those guys, and then we went over to the World Cup, and that was. I mean, you've done those tours, Kevie. It's you just
great
can't
experience.
It's just a great experience. Like, the best time.
Always good to put the green and gold on, particularly those. You played at Wembley too, didn't you?
Yeah,
guys?
you played at Wembley. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Magical. You won that year too, didn't you? You won the World Cup.
You won the World Cup. Yeah. So it was great.
Righto. 96, you're in the grand. So you come back from there. Your team is decimated, pulled apart by the Super League war.
Yep.
And you somehow managed to scramble some players together.
Yep.
And you make the grand final.
Yeah,
Again,
unbelievable.
Was there some controversy in that game as well?
I think there was a bit of controversy that Matt Ridge played
the no
ball.
try.
It was a try there or something. I think he shouldn't have been a try, but at the end of the day, that's what happens in games and whatever. So
Manly.
that doesn't change the result.
No, Manly was it? Was it Manly?
Yeah, it was Manly. Yeah. And to be fair, Manly were a great team. Like you think about, Bob Fulton had that really unique defensive sort of structure that was very hard to crack. And
they were a good team for.
And they were in 3 premierships. Sorry, they played in 3 grand finals in a row. Yeah, that's
and they lost 2 and
beat us.
You guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a bit unlucky. 97. You remember much about the 97 Super League? That's when the 2 competitions actually did split.
Yeah, horrible for us because again that's when we lost so many players.
Yeah.
In 97, they all went to their Super League clubs, and that was a really tough period for us because we just didn't have the quality of players that you need to compete, and we had a really horrible year that year again after getting to a grand final. Then the next year we didn't even make the top 8 or top 5. It probably was back then still. Very disappointing. 97 was probably the lowest year that I had at the club.
Really?
Just because again we just we were decimated during that Super League stuff. So it was just a tough year. And 98 we sort of bounced back a bit, and then 99 we had the joint venture.
Yeah, tell us about 1998. Everyone comes back together, as you said.
Yep.
Unified competition, and then this is your 10th year as the Dragons, and you get a testimonial year, and all the money you raised, or that the club raised, it was about 130,000. You gave it to a charity.
Yeah, I did. I gave it to charity. I just sort of felt like during the Super League war, I did really well through the Super League war because as we all did, I suppose.
Financially,
it was like winning lotto, and I just sort of felt that with a testimonial. I really appreciated having.
Was it a children's charity?
Yeah, Children's Cancer Institute. So basically helping research, solutions for cancer. So,
right.
I'd done a fair few visits to the Children's Hospital in Sydney and seen, kids and families that were going through cancer. So
yes.
I was pretty keen to find the right charity, and they were the right charity.
Yeah. I think that's one area. I'm just going to pause it on there because so many rugby league players and rugby league teams, individuals do so much work in that space, don't they?
Yeah.
A lot of it gets unrecognized. But for me, and I've done some work in there. I'm not going to call it work. Some visited kids and that, and it just gives you.
It's humbling, isn't it? It's humbling.
How grateful we are to be healthy, and I've got kids, and you've got kids, so we know what that's like, and it just brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
It does, mate. It does, yeah.
And for you to be doing some really good work in that space is amazing. It just typifies the sort of person that you are, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Good job. Righto, 99's your last year.
Yep.
The Dragons, or Illawarra Dragons, isn't it?
Yep.
In the unified competition.
Yep.
You make the grand final, but you get injured halfway through the year.
Yeah, I got injured halfway through the year. Hurt my neck. I didn't really recover. I probably recovered.
Do you remember the exact moment when you hurt it?
We were playing Balmain at like.
It wasn't a winger in again, was it?
No, it wasn't a winger in. I was in the centres. I was in the centres still then. But no, I think I just put my head in the wrong place in a tackle and jarred my neck, and then I had a lot of pain. Probably by the semis, I would have been right to play. And weirdly enough, I thought I'm just going to have to ring David Waite and say, if you need me, I'm right to play.
Yeah.
Just because, it was my last year, I was retiring. And
so you'd announced it, had you, early in the season?
I announced it early in the season when I first did it. And then I sort of got better. And then I thought, well, haven't really told many people this, Kevie, but I did ring David and say, I just want to let you know that if something happens to a player, I'll be okay to play in the grand final, because I sort of felt this was my last year. It would have been my last chance to win a premiership. But and David, to David's credit, he was very honest and said, well, Mark, but no, we've got.
Well, that would have been tough for you anyway, because if you did say you said halfway through the year and then all of a sudden you're back out there, you're an experienced player, but that would have been a little bit nerve wracking for you.
Would have been hard, no doubt. No doubt.
But what about the finish of that game? Do you think that was a try?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Try?
I think it was a penalty try. I think it was.
Bill Harrigan was the ref, wasn't he?
Yeah, Bill was the ref. I think we had other opportunities to win that game, obviously, but people were quite critical of Anthony Mundine. Chock, because he played at the Bronx, didn't he?
I love playing with Chock.
Yeah. Chock was one of those players that he just played off the cuff, a bit like Alf, I suppose.
Mate, he's a match winner. He's a champion.
He's a champion.
You would have loved having him in your team, wouldn't you?
He was great, but he got a lot of blame for that game. But a week before he got us to the grand final by scoring a try against the Sharks. Like, he's phenomenal,
amazing talent.
A phenomenal, talented kid. But I think he was blamed a little bit around that game, but he didn't deserve that. And at the end of the day,
well, he would have brushed that off anyway.
He brushed that off. Chock, but again, that was one that we probably should have got away with. But and I'll admit, obviously he'd been in 3 losing grand final sheds, but that one after 99, it was like I've never seen anything like it. They were absolutely
gutted. Well, they were in front for most of the game.
They were in front for most of the game, and no one spoke in that dressing room, I reckon, for about an hour.
Right.
They were just completely gutted.
I've been in a losing dressing room, grand final losing dressing room as a player when I was only a kid, but more as a coach, recently, and it's very numbing, isn't it?
Oh, it's so numbing.
It takes a long time to move on.
It really does.
People say, just learn from it and move on. Yeah, right. Yeah, shocking. In fact, I've still got scars from that, so I shouldn't have asked that question.
No,
Corey.
mate, maybe not.
So where did you watch the game from?
The Melbourne game, against the Storm.
Final.
I just watched it in the stand. I was up in the stand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I walked on the field I think they wanted me to go on the field at the start of the game. No, sorry, at the end of the game, I went down on the field and just consoled a few of the boys, because they were so.
It would have been hard watching for you.
God, it was very hard watching.
Dragons man, and still are to this day.
It was sort of. I found it a bit weird, because it was sort of like, if they win and I'm not playing, it's going to really hurt me a bit, because I didn't get the opportunity to win a premiership during my career.
Yeah, well, that's the personal part of it all.
Yeah, it's the personal part. Yeah. But then obviously I was gutted for the club and obviously for the players as well.
Yeah, righto. So you've retired, right? So we'll stay on your footy there. Just a couple of questions here about who's the best player you played against, you reckon?
I played against, obviously played against a lot of different players. I think the hardest, Mal was obviously tough, but he was probably towards the end of his career. But I'd probably say the Pearl in terms of who I marked up against.
You had some good battles.
Steve Renoff was and he would have beat me. He's beaten me probably three times out of 10, I reckon.
Well, you're not on your own there, mate. I can tell you. But I'll tell you what, you got your own back with him a few times as well. It used to be funny, because I'm great friends and fans of both of you, and it was amazing playing against you. I could see you're a very smart fella. And think, what's he doing? What's he doing here? What's he got on? You'd put yourself in a position, particularly from scrums, where there was time to have a look, and I'd be looking at you. Your head would be going, "What's he doing this time?" And same the other way too. I've got to say, when your half was feeding the scrum, Pearl and I sitting there thinking, "What's he doing, Corny? What's he going to do here?" Because you could go off both feet. You get on the outside, you speed.
Yeah.
So that was, I used to love watching that. But that was great insights into the battles.
Yeah. And we got to play in Origin together. Me and Pearl, and we had a good relationship.
Yeah. What's your favourite footy memory, you reckon?
Dragons
first.
Dragons first.
Is it captaining the club, or is there?
I think it's when we beat get into that grand final.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think it was North Sydney that we beat.
Yeah.
In '96 to get to the grand final, and by far that is my favourite memory. Like, just what we went through at the start of the year and to get to that grand final. I remember I had,
because you're the captain of the club too, aren't you?
I was captain. You would have played with Mark Bell, the javelin, down in Canberra. So I couldn't get him off me. He kept hugging me so much and kissing me after the end of the game. I was trying to fend him off the javelin, but I think just the fact that we came from nowhere, having no players at the start of the year to getting to the grand final was a very emotional time for me.
Righto. Because as I said earlier, once you know you're in a grand final, it's happy days.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by Kratzmann Caravans. So what's your favourite holiday destination? Probably going to be Harvey Bay, is it?
Oh, I love Harvey Bay. Harvey Bay's a great spot, but we got a place down at Mollymook Beach, which is down the south coast of New South Wales. And
Well, hang on. You live on the water here in Sydney, and you got a whole beach. Jeez, what are you doing post-career? You got to get me into this stuff,
Hey,
Corny.
no,
I'm here knocking away doing podcasts, and you're semi-retired.
I wasn't full-time professional like you, Kevie, back in the day. I worked for 9 out of my 12 years.
Might have been that tea he scored.
I hoarded my money. I hoarded my money, mate.
Oh, that's good, mate. So what are you doing now with yourself? I know so post-career.
Yeah,
right?
Post-career, I got into insurance, into what they call workers' comp. So people hurt themselves at work. The business that I've been involved with, over 2 companies, Suncorp, and I'm at a company called EML now. And basically the job that we do is help people recover and get back to work. So I've been doing that for probably 25, 30 years now. And and I've just, I've got to the point, I was CEO of the company EML for about 10 or 11 years.
Yep.
And then I've sort of stepped down from that role as CEO, and I'm still involved in the business as an executive director, but I'm just working part time now. So
and you're on a couple of boards as well, aren't you?
I just gone
Not
on.
anymore.
I was on a few different boards, but I'm on the board of Sporting Chance Cancer Foundation. So Mark Taylor, the cricketer, he's our chairman. So that raises money for kids with cancer in regional areas. And I'm on the board. I've just got on the board of the Dragons. So it's only the last month I've got on the board.
You're enjoying that?
Yeah, so far I've just had the one month and one meeting so far, but I'm hoping I can make a difference to the club in that.
Well, I'm sure you can, because I know you're very passionate, one, about the club, and two, you've got great experience in the business world. 30 odd years longer, probably.
Yeah,
is it?
probably a little bit longer, but yeah.
We'll keep it at 30 to keep you a bit younger,
Thanks, mate.
30 years of that, and also 15 years, I'm going to say, as a professional rugby league player. So you'd be one that would, you see a lot of people on these boards that don't cover all the bases. You see some person's really good at finance or marketing, but you've got it all covered, mate.
It doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes at times, Kevie. But I think I've got a nice balance of being in the corporate world and obviously playing the game at a high level. So I feel like I can contribute to the club, and that's obviously what I aim to do, mate.
Yeah, and your charity work, mate. How good is that? Like, I mean, I've involved in some charities, but you've just constantly been involved. Well, you donated that money for your testimonial, but I'm sure prior to that you were doing a lot of work, and particularly with the children's hospital, was it, with the kids? And
the kids. Yeah, so I just think that both of us have been lucky, Kevie, in terms of the careers that the career that we've chosen, and it's been, I'm sure it's been as good to you financially as it has been to me, and I've always felt important that it's important to give something back where you can, whether it's just visits to kids and seeing them and that sort of stuff. But obviously financially, if you can help out, I think it's a great thing as well.
Oh, 100%, mate. Righto. Well, Coyne, we've come to the end here, mate. The end of the podcast, not the end of you, because so much happening in your world. I mean, I'm banging away trying to knock out some podcasts and doing some stuff, but you're sitting on top of a great career on the football field, and then transitioned into one of the great leaders of your company and successful. You've got a great family. Your life's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, it's not too bad, mate. Yeah, as you know, I've got adult kids now, but they still try you at times. So
we've always got kids, mate. They never leave. They might leave the house, but they never leave the home, mate.
No,
which is great, isn't it?
It's lovely.
No grandchildren yet?
None yet, mate. No.
Any on the horizon or what?
I think there's all my 3 children have long-term partners, so hopefully it's not.
Righto.
Not too far.
And surely you get up to Queensland a bit. You're a great Queenslander. You must love coming home.
Yeah, I've been coming home a lot because unfortunately my mum passed away at the end of last year, but she was 96 and she'd had a great life. So I was coming up a lot at the end of last year to spend time with mum before she went. So I love coming up here. My company's got an office up here. Yep. So and at the Gold Coast, I come up here as much as I can because I love being in Queensland.
That's good, mate. Norwich just around the corner. You got a tip, of course. The
Queenslanders, mate,
all the way.
I saw Billy yesterday, and he feels pretty good about how they're looking.
Do you like the team that Billy selected? Do you like it?
I haven't actually seen the official formal team yet, but I do. I mean, I think that as always we'll be the underdogs, Kevie. You know what it's like because they're going to have the nice, shiny, bright superstars, and we'll just have the hard-working guys that will do the job for us.
Always, mate. Always great to have you on the show, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, mate.
Mark Coyne, You're a champion.
Good on you, Kev. Thanks.